Good morning, students. So students, in the previous lecture we were studying about program development life cycle. That is, what are the steps to develop a software, and we have completed first three steps, that is problem definition, program design and coding. So today we have to start with fourth step, that is testing. So what is testing? So as the name is testing, testing is very important phase of this software development life cycle. Testing phase is used to check the software, to test the software that whether it is performing with the given conditions or not, or whether program is able to identify any fault or not. So testing is used to check whether the program is correct or not. So the program is tested on a number of suitable test cases. Number of test cases are developed to test the program on different cases. And the next thing is, a test plan of the program has to be done at the stage of the program design itself. They also perform testing at the designing phase also, to check whether it is according to the needs of the customer or not. So this actually ensures a thorough understanding of the specifications of the software. So testing phase is one of the most trivial and most special cases. And there are also special cases that should be identified and tested. So it is always useful to include the maximum and the minimum values of all the variables as test data. So with this we have completed the first four phases of the software development life cycle. So when we are at testing phase, after checking the specifications of the software, if the software is correct and it is according to the needs of the customer and it is fulfilling the needs of the customers and it is fulfilling all the specifications, then only we move to next phase, that is fifth phase. If there are some errors in the testing phase, or if the program generates some errors, or program is not behaving properly, or program is not behaving according to the needs of the customers, so we have to do again some work on the coding part and sometimes on the designing part also. So we cannot move forward after the testing phase if there are errors. So we have to remove all the errors at the testing phase. So after testing the software, if the software is correct, if the software is according to the needs of the customer, then only we can move to fifth step of the system development life cycle. Now the fifth step is documentation phase. So documentation phase is a very essential step in the program development. Documentation helps the users and the people who maintain the software. So documentation is like they prepare some documents and everything is in written form for both the parties, that is for the developer and for the customer. So this phase ends by writing a manual that provides an overview of the program's functionality. They also write that what is the function of the program, tutorials for the beginners, in-depth explanations of the major program features, and they also include reference documents of all the program commands and a thorough description of the error messages generated by the program. So it is just like when you buy some product, like you are buying a AC from the market and you get some reference book with the AC to get all the description, and also it is like documentation. So everything is in written form, and even both the parties, whatever they have some rules that they want to follow or they want to fulfill, they write everything in documentation phase. So this ensures that future modification, if any time any future modification is required, that can be easily done. So it is also required during the redesigning and the maintenance phase. So why it is required during the redesigning and the maintenance phase? For example, once you have bought the product Now you want some changes in the product and you want to get some service from the company, so you can get change, you can get done with the changes and you can get services only if you have some documents. For example, if you get a product from the market, you must know that you always get some paper or some that is in written form, that warranty and guarantee of the product. So you can use this within that time, or you require that document if you require any maintenance. So that all comes under this phase, that is documentation phase. So with this, students, we have completed the first 5 phases of software development life cycle. Now the sixth phase is maintenance phase. Now what is maintenance phase? Maintenance phase is actually a phase, like it is a lifetime phase. It is a lifetime phase means it actually a company has to provide services to the user lifetime. So it is the final phase, that is, it is the last phase. Why it is the final phase? Because we can move to sixth phase only after the successful completion of the first 5 phases of the software development life cycle. So as it is the final phase, the program is installed at the user site in this phase, and also the program is kept under watch until the user gives a green signal to it. So it is just like, for example, I want to discuss it with the air conditioner example. For example, you have bought an air conditioner. After that, you have bought some. You also get some like guarantee, warranty, and all. So the maintenance phase is when they have installed that device at your home, and you have started using the device, and you are giving green signal that we are okay with the product. So that is maintenance phase. So how it works when we talk about software. So software is, for example, a developer has developed the software and it has completed all the 5 stages. Now you have to use the software at your end. Software is ready, now you have to install at your PC and you have to use the software. So that also comes under maintenance phase. So if you get any problem, or if there is any error, or if any problem, you can tell them, then they will provide service to you. So that all things comes under maintenance phase. And even after, let's suppose after 1 year or after 2 years, you want some changes, or you have some problems, then you can call them and they can fix your errors and generate and make changes whatever you want. So even after the software is completed, it needs to be maintained and evaluated regularly. So in software maintenance, the program team fixes the program errors and updates the software. So that all comes under maintenance phase. So with this, we have completed total 6 phases of software development life cycle. Whenever anyone has to develop a software, everyone has to go through all these 6 phases, that is program development life cycle. So I hope that it is clear to everyone that what is in the every phase. So with this, we have completed total 6 phases. So today we have started testing phase, in which we check or we test the software. Fifth phase is documentation phase, in which we prepare some documents in the written form. And sixth phase is maintenance phase. Maintenance phase is a lifetime phase, in which the company has to provide maintenance to the user. So with this, we have completed this topic, that is program development life cycle. Now let's move to next topic of this unit, that is algorithm. So what is algorithm? So students, as in the previous lecture, I have explained you that what is program. So program is set of instructions, and we always have to execute a set of instructions in some particular order. So that is program. And computer understands only some specific language. You know that computer understands only binary language. I have already discussed in the first unit that computer understands only binary language. Now, why we are studying algorithm, and what is algorithm? Why there is a need to study algorithm? So, students, in the very first slide, I told you that the name of the unit is program analysis. Program analysis means we have to analyze the program, we have to check the program, and we have to develop the program. So as when we have to develop the program, we need different things. So we have also studied program development life cycle. It means if we have to develop a program, we have to pass through all these 6 stages. Okay, you know that we have to go through all these 6 stages. And the very first stage is problem definition phase, where we have to understand the problem, why we have to develop a software. And in the second phase, we have studied program design, where we have to first of all prepare a design in the form of algorithm and flowchart. So as I have already told you that we use algorithms and flowcharts to represent the design of the program. Whatever we are developing, first of all we prepare some design. So that's why we have to study algorithm and flowchart in detail. So I hope that it is clear to you why we are studying algorithm. We use algorithm to represent the design of the software. So let's start with the algorithm. So what is algorithm? Algorithm is step-by-step representation of work. And you can also say algorithm is step-by-step define how a work is to be executed in order to get some expected output. So students, let's take example of algorithm to understand the concept of algorithm. So, for example, you want to cook something, and you want to cook a new recipe. So, what are the steps that everyone follows to cook a new recipe? So, one reads the instruction and the steps and execute them one by one in the given sequence. For example, you have to prepare a tea. So what are the steps? First of all, you have to take a pen, then you have to take a pan, then place it on the gas, then add some water, tea, sugar, and at the end you have to add milk, and you have to boil for 10 minutes. So this is a complete recipe to prepare a tea. So you have to follow the steps in sequence. First step, second step, third step. So after following all the steps in a proper sequence, you can get the desired output. So that is real life example of algorithm. So the result thus obtained is the new dish that you have cooked perfectly. So similarly, why we use algorithms? Algorithms helps to do a task in programming to get the expected output. See students, I have already told you in the first lecture that if we want to develop a program, we cannot develop it directly. We cannot start with the coding part as in first step. So first of all, we have to prepare some designs. We have to prepare algorithms, flowcharts. Then we have to translate that algorithm into programming language. Programming language, it is up to the programmer that whatever programming language programmer want to use. But the very first step is programmer has to develop algorithms and flowcharts. Then easily we can translate that algorithms into programming language. So algorithms. So I hope now it is clear to you why we are using algorithm, as I have discussed one real life example. So algorithm is a finite list of instructions most oftenly used in solving problems and performing tasks. So therefore, algorithm refers to a set of rules and instructions that is step by step define how we have to perform a work in order to get the expected output. So computers can't do anything without being told to what to do. So how we have to tell the computer? We have to tell the computer in the form of algorithms. So as you want to give someone in the form of algorithm that recipe of a tea. So you can write all the steps in sequence, step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, and so on. So that is algorithm. So if anyone follows your steps, they can make tea. So that is algorithms. Now the next thing is algorithms are language independent. What is language independent? Language independent means you are not restricted that you have to make use of some programming language to write the algorithm. You can write algorithm in any language. So you can simply use English language to write the algorithm. So they are just plain instructions that can be implemented in any language. So you can write algorithm in a normal English language, and after that you can convert that algorithm into any of the language like C++, Java, whatever language you want to use. So you can convert the algorithm into any programming language. Now I have taken an example of algorithm that how we have to write the algorithm. So I have taken an example of addition of two numbers. So for example, we have two numbers, we have to add two numbers, and after the addition of two numbers we have to transfer the result of two numbers into some variable, and we have to display the result. So this is a very simple task. The task is, first of all, we have to take two numbers, then we have to add two numbers, and after the addition of two numbers we have to transfer the result into some another variable, into some third variable, and we have to display that variable to display the result. So let's start with how we have to write the algorithm. So whenever you have to write algorithm, you always have to write as in step, that is step number 1, step number 2. So let's start with step number 1. Step number 1 is start the process. Step number 2 is declare variable. Declare variable means whenever we have to make use of any of the variable in programming language, it is always mandatory that you always have to declare the variable first, because we have to tell the computer that we are using that variable, because computer don't know that what is the name of the variable that we have given to the variable and what is this. So we have to firstly declare the variables. So here I have given the name to the variable as number1, number2, num1, num2. So you can give any name, it is your choice. So that's why we have to declare the variable. So step number 2 is declare variable number1, number2 and sum. So I have declared total 3 variables, num1, num2 and sum. You can also declare it as a, b and c. It is your choice. Step number 3 is read values of number 1 and number 2. Read values number 1 and number 2 means you have to read the values of variable number 1 and number 2. So these are just variables. Variable is some alphabet that we have given some name to a variable. Now after that we have to assign some value to the variable. So let's suppose I have assigned the value 5 to the number 1 and 6 value to the number 2. So read the values number 1, number 2 means third step is, at this step the program will read the value of the number 1 and number 2, that is 5 and 6. Now after reading the value, what we have to do is we have to add the numbers. Now step number 4 is add number 1 and number 2. So add number 1, number 2 means it will add the contents of number 1 and contents of number 2 and assign the result to sum. Sum is the third variable. So it will assign the result to the sum variable. So this is the step that how it performs. This is number 1 plus number 2, and after performing the addition of two numbers, it will transfer the result into the variable sum, that is sum. So we always have to write the expression at the right hand side and variable where we want to transfer the answer as in left hand side. So it will transfer the sum of two numbers, that is 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 into the sum variable. Now final answer is in sum variable. So what next we have to do is we have to display the third variable. We have to display the sum. So step number 5 is display sum. It will display the result. Step number 6 is stop. So we always have to use start and stop as in first and last instruction to start the algorithm and to stop the algorithm. So students, I hope it is clear to you that how we have to write the algorithm and what are the steps that we have to follow while writing the algorithm. So by using this procedure, you can write algorithm of any of the procedure. For example, if we want to add three numbers and we want to transfer result in a third variable, here I am going to change some variables, name of the variables, so that it is clear to you. So we have to take three variables A, B and C, and we want to transfer some in some variable, that is Z. So we have declared four variables A, B, C and Z. So step number 3 is read the values of A, comma B and C. Step number 4 is add variable A, comma B and C and assign the result to variable Z. Now here the expression, we have to write the expression as A plus B plus C, and you have to transfer the result into variable Z and display variable Z. So this is how you have to write algorithm. So here I have taken an example of addition of three numbers by declaring it as a variable A, B, C, and Z variable is used to store the sum of all three numbers. So by this way you can write algorithm of any problem. So with this we have completed this session. So tomorrow we will start with next topic of this unit. So that's all for today.